Let me say something that's gonna make a few people mad. Some men don't need to love you to keep you. They just need you to be useful. Useful is cooking. Useful is splitting bills. Useful is looking good on his arm. Useful is being quiet when he's disrespectful. Hey lovelies, this is Janelle, the relationship coach behind The Successful Invisible. And I'm here today with another episode of Ish I Saw on TikTok. Pick me politics get people hurt, and why male-centered women are indeed dangerous. Today, we're talking about how to recognize when you're being used, not loved, before you waste your best years proving you're worthy. So here's the assignment. Stop letting he stayed gaslight you into thinking you're chosen. Staying can mean convenience, image management, or a free therapist with benefits. Love is respect. And if you want the vetting questions, the Leave Without Debate Club scripts, come join me on my exclusive coaching community on Coffee.
Listen to me when I tell you, a male-centered woman cannot be trusted, and she will kill you. I am not being dramatic. I'm not trying to get a wow factor. I'm not trying to do anything except for tell you the truth. And I know this because, unfortunately, my dad married a woman who is just like that. Did y'all see that video of the auntie racing home because she saw her sister's boyfriend abusing her niece? A male-centered woman does not respect herself. She does not value herself, and she does not love herself. So in turn, they seek the validation of men who are not even really men. They will encourage and even watch men abuse children because in their mind, they have to always have the attention, the admiration, and approval of shitty men. You cannot reason with a woman who is enthralled by a man. They don't think straight. They don't. They are dangerous. They will sacrifice you and anyone else to appease to that man. So if you ever find yourself in a situation with a woman who is like that, exit quickly. You cannot reason with him. Your life literally depends on it. I'm so serious.
If you are an attractive woman, inside or out or both, you cannot be friends with a male-centered woman. You can't be friends with a male-centered woman. And the reason why you can't be friends with a male-centered woman is because a male-centered woman will be focused on trying to humble you every opportunity that jealous hoe get. Do you understand what the fuck I'm saying? You can't even be cool with a bitch that's a male-centered man. That's the type of bitch that will try to get you in front of a group of men and try to embarrass you or say the most humiliating thing about you that they know. That's the type of bitch that you can't call and vent to your man about, because no matter what he do, she's gonna defend that nigga. No matter what he do. Male-centered females try to humble successful, beautiful, intelligent friends of theirs. They stay trying to humble you. Stay trying to humble you. Stay trying to fucking humble you. I cannot stand a male-centered bitch. And if you don't know what male-centered means, please Google it and look it up, because that doesn't just mean you love your man. This is a thing. Male-centered women have a thing for all men. They put men over their own self. They put men's opinions over their own opinions. Male-centered women are dangerous. Male-centered women, they protect child offenders. SAers. It goes far. It goes far. I could never be cool with a male-centered woman though. Because bitch, who you think you trying to humble? You can never humble me. The shit that God has brought me through, bitch, you could never humble me. And the fact that you thought that you could is fucking hilarious to me. If you are a secure woman, a beautiful woman on the outside and on the inside, stay away from male-centered women. In your life, there will be energy vampires and monitoring spirits. Male-centered women will go as far as to hate on you to your own man. Do you understand what I'm saying? Not even with intentions on fucking him. Do you see what I'm saying? The mindset of a male-centered woman needs to be fucking studied. Okay? I literally had to cut a bitch off this weekend that I was a good friend to. Because, bitch, who you trying to humble? Who you trying to humble? Who the fuck are you? Could never humble me, bitch. I'm me.
I just really feel like somebody needs to hear this. And this is something that has been on my mind for quite some time. So I just know for a fact somebody needs to hear this. If you have a mother, a grandmother, siblings, whomever, women in your family, right? If they are extremely male-centered, and if they see you as the other woman, y'all relationship is over. And sis, I need you to move forward. Y'all relationship will never be the same. Because one thing for sure and two things for damn sure, it's going to always be about a man, baby, and never about no money. It's going to always be about a man, but never about no money. You cannot trust a woman who, and I don't care who it is, you can't trust a woman who will forever put a man above their children. Family, friends, you can't do it. Being around women who are male-centered, they are very dangerous. I remember off the movie Precious where Monique was watching her get raped. And I remember she was just going off on her and was like, you was trying to steal my man. You was trying to steal my man. You was trying to steal my man. When women start putting a man above themselves, you cannot trust them. And once they start seeing you as the other woman, you will forever be the other woman. You can't come back from that, baby. And it ain't even your fault. But this is the type of BS that she is going to allow. I went through this twice as a child growing up. I wasn't never essayed or anything like that, but I've dealt with women who are very male-centered. And I was a teenager. I was a baby. And it's hilarious because now that I'm grown, you have questions that need answers. And no one can ever give you those answers. But then people make it seem like, oh, you acting funny. You don't come around no more, X, Y, and Z. But these same women will never tell people in the family that a little girl had me in a chokehold as a grown woman because I was jealous of a child. They leave that part out.
So traits of a male-centered woman is so obvious because I've been around a lot of male-centered women. One way I can tell when a woman is male-centered is she's a validation junkie. She only feels enough when a man tells her that she's sexy, she's pretty, wanted. Another way I can tell when a woman is male-centered is she has pick-me energy. She will throw other women under the bus just to look different or better for a man. Always accommodating. Drop her own goals, her dream, her friends, her family. Hell, some women drop their kids just to keep a man comfortable. She is the type to cancel her plans for his last-minute text. Tolerates disrespect. He's lying, he's cheating, he's fucking his homeboy. She stays because all men do that. Or he's just going through something. Bitch, please. One thing I have noticed about male-centered women is that they romanticize struggle love. Ever seen somebody in a terrible fucking relationship and they always say, well, I've been with this person this many years. You've been a dumb bitch for that many years. There's nothing cute about romanticizing struggle love. He beat your ass yesterday and fucked your cousin. You back in his face cuddling up with him today. You bitch are dumb. You think enduring pain with a man equals proof of love. That's how most male-centered women live through the man that they with. His goals, his dreams, his felonies, his court dates, his child support, his social circle, his friends. But she drops all her shit Sex equals currency. Most male-centered women believe that her body is the main tool to keep a man. Intimacy is the only way to hold him, even if it empties her emotionally. Let's be real, most male-centered women are scared of singleness. They'll settle for almost anything just not to be alone. That's why I tell a lot of people when a lot of people say, well, why they won't leave the relationship? Because they're scared to be alone. Most women don't even love themselves, because understand if they love themselves, they wouldn't be in that fucked up relationship. So when you're a type of person, you cannot sit with yourself, you don't love yourself, of course you don't want to sit in that shit alone. Talk about how male-centered women treat women that don't play that shit. Backhanded shade. If you're not a male-centered woman, they'll call you bitter, a man-hater, or too independent to downplay your power. Oh, because I won't let him beat my ass across the floor, fuck my cousin, call me a stupid bitch, not pay no bills, not have no job. I'm a man-hater. Competitor mode. I don't even understand why y'all be competing. We could never compare. They automatically would start seeing you as competition. They would compare looks, body, money to feel above in a man's eyes. Insecure projection. They will feel exposed when they see another woman that's not willing to tolerate that disrespect. Like you refusing to deal with that shit. Because it highlights her own lack of fucking boundaries. Instead of reflecting and actually fixing herself, she projects. She thinks she's better than everybody. No, I mean, we're just not dumb bitches. Secret envy. See, deep down, they admire women that stand firm, but they just scared to admit it. So that admiration that they have for you, that shit start to turn sour. It reminds her that she don't have no fucking boundaries. Male-centered women often feels uncomfortable around women that refuses to deal with that bullshit. You're not shrinking for men. You're not tolerating disrespect. You're not getting mopped across the floor, because it forces her to face her own lack of boundaries.
Well, that was fast. Guilty of first-degree murder. The jury wrapped this one up real quick, and my jaw did stay in place because this is Sakina Thompson, and she's, well, not the brightest bulb. She found out that Kayla Hodges was talking to the same man that she's talking to. She tried to reach out to Kayla, but Kayla blocked her because, ma'am, I don't know you. It's not that deep. You really can have him. But no, Sakina didn't just pull up to Kayla's house. She booked a flight from New York to Florida to talk woman to woman. And yes, she claimed self-defense. Sakina, this might be the very definition of premeditated, baby. You had so many chances to calm down. When you were on your computer comparing flight prices from New York to Florida, you could have calmed down. When you drove to the airport, you could have calmed down. When you were in that TSA line, you could have calmed down. When you sat in the middle seat next to babies coughing and screaming and crying, you could have calmed down. When you landed, you could have calmed down. When you were booking that lift, you could have turned around at any point. One different decision could have changed your life and could have saved Kayla's life, right? But instead, Kayla is gone. A mother lost their child, and you too, Sakina, because you gave birth while you were in prison. So you have also now lost a relationship with your child. That's two families shattered over someone who couldn't calm down and control themselves.
Tonight on an arrest in New York City. This after a young woman was killed last month inside her apartment in Tamarack. The Broward Sheriff's Office announced that the suspect, Sakina Thompson, is now in custody.
Right now, at this exact moment, Sakina Thompson is sitting in a Florida prison cell. She's staring at concrete walls, eating food from a plastic tray, counting down a life sentence that will never end. Meanwhile, the man she murdered for just posted honeymoon photos from Bali. Turquoise water, white sand beaches, his new wife smiling in a bikini with a ring that cost more than Sakina's entire legal defense. While Sakina rots in a 6x8 cell, Terry is sipping cocktails with someone who never asked him to prove anything. He moved on. He rebuilt. He found love again and walked down the aisle like nothing ever happened. And the most twisted part? Sakina didn't kill because he cheated. She killed for him, to prove she was loyal, to show she'd do anything to keep him. She thought eliminating the competition would bring him back. Instead, it gave him the perfect excuse to disappear forever. Let me take you back to July 13th, 2022. A woman's body lies on the floor of her own apartment in Tamarack, Florida. Blood everywhere, dozens of stab wounds, throat slashed so deep the coroner had trouble identifying the entry points. The killer? A woman who flew over 1,000 miles just to make this happen. Not a stranger. Not a random psychopath. Someone the victim knew. Someone she let inside willingly. And here's what makes this absolutely insane. The man both women loved wasn't even in the state when it happened. He was already planning his exit strategy. Already lining up his next relationship. Already moving his belongings out of Sakina's apartment while she was booking that flight to commit murder. He knew what she was capable of. The warning signs were everywhere. And he said nothing. Now here's the thing about loyalty that no one tells you. And if you don't subscribe right now, you'll miss the exact moment in this story where Sakina could have saved herself. Most of you will scroll past this. You'll tell yourself you'll come back. You won't. And 3 months from now, when you're in a situation that echoes the story, when you're tracking someone's location for the 15th time today, when you're reading texts that make your stomach turn, but you stay anyway, you'll remember you had the warning signs handed to you, and you kept scrolling. The subscribe button isn't for me. It's your bookmark for the lesson you're about to need. Because I'm going to show you the 3 specific moments where intervention could have prevented a murder, where friends saw the red flags and said nothing, where technology became a weapon and nobody stopped it. Your call. But when you're explaining to your therapist why you ignored your gut, don't say nobody warned you. Let's talk about Kayla Hodgson, but not the version you saw at the candlelight vigil. Not the purple balloons and the tearful tributes about how she lit up every room. I'm going to tell you who she actually was, because the truth is always more complicated than the obituary. Kayla was 23 years old, a flight attendant who loved her job, loved meeting new people, loved the freedom of being 30,000 feet above everyone else's problems. Her Instagram was full of sunset photos from hotel windows, cocktails with coworkers, that carefully curated life that made everyone think she had it all figured out. But here's what nobody mentions in those memorial posts. Kayla knew about Sakina. She absolutely knew Terry had a girlfriend back in New York. Text messages recovered from her phone show her friend Ashley warning her 3 separate times. He's still with her, Kayla. This is messy. Walk away. And you know what Kayla said? Love always wins. She just doesn't want to let go. 2 days before she died, she posted that exact phrase on her Instagram story with the purple heart emoji. Love always wins. Her friends tried. They really did. But Kayla had convinced herself this was different, that Terry was choosing her. That time would solve everything. She wasn't naive. She was hopeful. And that hope cost her everything. The worst part, the detail that makes this whole thing so much darker, she had started looking at wedding venues. Her search history from the week before her death shows she'd been browsing destination wedding packages in Cabo. She thought she was building a future. She had no idea she was being erased from someone else's. Now let's flip the script and talk about Sakina Thompson, because calling her a monster is too easy. 28 years old, successful nail technician in New York City. Her own apartment, her own clientele, financially independent. From the outside, she had her life together. But when you look closer, when you read the therapy notes her lawyer tried to submit as evidence, you see the pattern. Every single man in Sakina's life had left her for someone else. Her father walked out when she was 7. Didn't just leave her mother. He moved in with his secretary and started a whole new family 3 blocks away. Sakina would see them at the grocery store. This man who shared her DNA treating other kids like they mattered more. Her first serious boyfriend in high school cheated on her with her best friend. Her college relationship ended when he proposed to someone else 6 weeks after their breakup. And then came Terry, the man she thought was different, the man she'd been with on and off for 4 years. Those TikTok videos everyone laughed at, the ones where she's talking about throwing hands and protecting what's hers, those weren't jokes. Those were warnings wrapped in bravado, cries for help disguised as entertainment. But we all just scrolled past, hit the like button, left comments like, "Period sis," and "mood," without ever stopping to think what happens when someone who talks like that actually snaps. Her nail salon customers said she talked about Terry like he was oxygen, like she couldn't breathe without him, like her entire identity was wrapped up in being his woman. And then there's Terry, real estate agent, smooth talker, the kind of guy who knew exactly what to say to make you feel seen. He wasn't some obvious villain. He didn't hit women or scream or throw things. He was worse. He was a coward who weaponized hope. Police found 3 phones when they searched his car. 3 separate devices. One for work, one for Sakina, one for Kayla. Deliberate separation, calculated compartmentalization. His friends, the guys he played basketball with every Thursday night, they knew everything. Group chat messages show him literally asking for advice on playing both sides till I figure out which one's worth it. He told his boys he was waiting to see which relationship had more long-term potential, like he was test driving cars instead of destroying lives. And here's the detail that should make your blood boil. The detail the prosecution could never quite prove, but phone forensics strongly suggested. In the weeks before Kayla's murder, Terry told Sakina he'd marry her if she handled the Kayla situation. Not explicitly, never directly, but enough vague statements, enough implications, enough "I wish she'd just disappear" comments that Sakina heard permission. She heard a green light. She heard the man she loved telling her that removing the obstacle would bring him back. The prosecution couldn't make it stick in court. No recording, no written confession. But the pattern was there. And Terry knew exactly what he was doing. June 30th, 2022. Sakina Thompson sat at her kitchen table in Queens at 2 in the morning, laptop open, Amazon cart loaded. She'd been searching the same phrase for 3 hours straight. How to hide a GPS tracker. How to install a GPS tracker without someone knowing. Best hidden GPS tracker for cars. 47 searches that night alone. Her browser history read like a stalker's manual, and nobody in her life had any idea what she was planning. She clicked purchase on a magnetic GPS tracking device at 2:37 a.m., paid extra for overnight shipping. The next morning, she waited by her door like a kid on Christmas, and when that package arrived, she didn't hesitate. She walked straight to Terry's apartment building, waited until he went upstairs, and attached that tracker to the undercarriage of his white Range Rover. 3 minutes, no witnesses, no second thoughts. From that moment forward, she watched his every move. Think about what that means for a second. Every time Terry drove to Kayla's apartment, Sakina knew. Every time he stayed overnight somewhere he claimed was a work trip, she had the address. Every lie became visible in real time. Every betrayal documented with timestamps and coordinates. This wasn't just checking your partner's location once or twice. This was 300 plus pings a day.
Imagine murdering another woman so that you can have your man to yourself, and now you're going to prison. And he has moved on and is engaged.
Hours of testifying in her own defense, Sakina Thompson told jurors she was jealous of the relationship her boyfriend had with the victim, Kayla Hodgson.
A little, I guess you could say, jealous and insecure.
Thompson admitted to flying from New York to Tamarack in July of 2022, in part to confront Hodgson about the relationship, hoping to convince the other woman to stop.
Say it with me. Male-centered women are dangerous. Thank you. Male-centered women are dangerous. Thank you. Because to not... So let me give you the rest that y'all didn't see in the clip, right? She's with a man, right? This man starts cheating on her with a younger woman. I believe that she's 28 or something in that ballpark. The young lady is 23. You hop your happy ass on a flight to pull up on another woman at 4 in the morning. And she claims her intention was to talk at 4 a.m. At 4 a.m. You went to that woman in completely black outfit, a face mask, and a baseball cap. And then after she stabbed the woman to death, yes, she stabbed her to death, she changes into the woman's clothes and then goes back to the man that she just killed that woman for. And the part that gets me is I seen clips of her in court and stuff, and she just seems so unbothered by it. Even the way in which she answers questions is very much like, I was jealous. And she tried to paint it as self-defense. She was like, she attacked me first. You showed up at that woman's apartment at 4 a.m. by the man. Let me tell y'all something right now. It's never that deep. It's never that deep. I don't want him. I don't want him. And this is, I will never argue behind no man. Because let me tell you something. If a woman ever feels emboldened enough And like, if a woman is with your man, or if a woman feels like she can go toe to toe with you about her man or a man, that man has made her feel that way. So you can have him. Listen, I'm not even arguing about no man. Honestly, I find it quite embarrassing. I find it quite fucking embarrassing and despicable. Like, if a woman ever called me about a man, I'd be like, bro, you could do better. You could do better, because what is this phone call gonna do? Listen, I don't want him. I don't want him. But baby, you gotta do better. Like, it's so embarrassing to go to another woman. It's embarrassing to argue with another woman over a man, but to kill a woman over a man who you now don't even have. Pick me women have 2 brain cells and they never touch.
And that is why I do not fool with male-centered women. That woman traveled across state lines to go and take the life of another female over a dude. Hold on right quick. I want to go to Google and see how many men are left on the planet. Google says there are 3.97 billion men in the world. That was as of 2021. I don't know if the numbers have dropped yet, or maybe they rose. And according to Google, 166.1 million dudes are in the United States of America. This is to say, never ever could it and should it ever get that serious. Her name is Sakina Thompson, and she unalived her ex-boyfriend's current girlfriend, Kayla Hodgson. Miss Ma'am took a flight from New York to Tamarack, claiming that she came there to confront the woman about the dude. Obviously, common sense tells you that no, she came over there to take that woman's life. But she came to the woman's apartment at 4 a.m. in the morning, and Kayla let her in. Ladies, don't you ever let a female come into your apartment talking about she want to talk about a dude. You should never be alone with somebody who has a mutual interest in the form of a man. She came over there wearing all black and a face mask. She had every intention on taking that woman's life. I've had male-centered female friends before, and let me tell you something, when God gave me the way of escape, I got up out of it. Typically, my way of escape would be the man talking about me, because dudes like that, they don't like women who have confidence at all. So they'd immediately start complaining about me to the female. In one particular case, I had a friend that was getting ready to have an event, and she did not even invite me to the event. And I kept asking her, why? You keep telling everybody about the event in my face, but you have yet to invite me. And even standing in my face, she wouldn't invite me. Why? Because her dude was coming and he didn't like me. Our relationship didn't last a month after that. Those type of women would do anything to be with a man, especially if they have a man that they're idolizing. They'll do anything, and I do mean anything, to be with that man. They will annihilate or eliminate anybody they feel that is in the way of what they believe to be their happiness. This is why the Bible tells us to love God with all of our heart, mind, and soul, and to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. God also says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. When you don't follow those principles, you fall into the trap of idolatry. Consequently, you won't love God, which means you'll easily sin against him, and you won't love yourself. And because you're deficit in love, you'll believe that any man, especially a narcissistic man, has the capacity and ability to love you, to give you the love that you don't have. So you'll do anything to be with that man. I'm talking about even putting your own kids at danger. I know women that have put their children at risk simply because they had a man that they were idolizing, and they wanted to prove themselves to that man. That woman traveled across country and used a knife to take the life of another woman. All the same, let me warn you this. I don't know the story between this guy, but some dudes will sit there and they will allow their ex-girlfriends to know who their current girlfriends are, because they want to see a fight. They want women to fight over them because they have low self-esteem and big ego. Don't you ever play tug of war over no dude. Chase after God. I'm talking about chase God with everything that you are, and let him bring the right man in the right seat.
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube, and that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. So let's understand this from the beginning. The phrase male-centered women gets thrown around online a lot like it's a personality type, but that's not really what it is. What we're really talking about or identifying is a pattern. This is a woman or women who consistently prioritize male attention and male approval over safety, boundaries, truth, and even their own well-being, right? And when that pattern is extreme, it doesn't just create drama, it creates true danger, especially when jealousy, coercive control, and competition enter the room. And yes, it can show up in friends, families, coworkers, entire social circles, and even with some women aiming this behavior at their own children and putting them in very unsafe circumstances. So, as I always like to do, I want to break down 5 main points from the videos we just saw, from a coaching perspective that I really want women to get when it comes to thinking about male-centered women. Point number 1, when someone is loyal to male approval, they can become unsafe around women and children and animals. Okay, let's be real. A woman who is deeply invested, right, in male validation may minimize harm. She usually does. She likes to make a lot of excuses for his bad behavior, or even help a man keep access to people he shouldn't have access to, i.e. the women who harbor and excuse pedophile behavior in their partners or in their male relatives and friends. This is because her priority is staying chosen. She wants to stay aligned, staying picked, right? That's where we get pick me from. That's how these women get the attention that they crave so badly. And in these situations, red flags are always going to be defended. Boundaries are going to be mocked, and women are going to be blamed for, and children are going to be blamed for men's actions. And that's not girl code drama, right? Like, that's an ecosystem where abuse can thrive. And a lot of people have been raised in these systems within their own family, right? And sometimes they can't recognize it. If you've ever watched someone make excuses for controlling behavior, intimidation, or he didn't mean it like that, you've seen the early versions of this. And you've probably seen it within your own social circle and your own family at one point or another. Coercive control often shows up as patterns of isolation, intimidation, and monitoring. Things that get normalized in toxic circles until somebody gets hurt, right? That's a big thing. So the big coaching takeaway I want you, my lovely listeners, to have is, if someone repeatedly chooses male approval over truth, don't give them access to your life. The best time to pay attention to this, ladies, especially, we are big grown ages, we out here in the world, we're circulating, we're networking. When you meet a new woman, be very cautious. When you meet a new person, period, be very cautious. But especially if it's a woman or a group of women, be very cautious in your introduction with her and like going out socially, and pay close attention to how she speaks about any male counterparts, partners, etc., or even her own child, because she could very well have the behaviors of a pick-me and a male-centered woman. And sometimes you won't notice it because you don't see it outright. So the easiest way to clock it is to pay attention to the stuff that she says, and pay attention early. Point 2, the humbling behavior is a tell-all. They'll trade your dignity for male attention. One of the most consistent signs is a male-centered friend, and I think we've all encountered these in our lives, will try to embarrass you around men, expose personal details, competes with you, or plays subtle sabotage. I believe most women have seen this most vividly in our younger years, like college, high school, college, 20s. We should be more discerning at this point, to not allow women like that to have access. But just reflect back on younger years, and like you were friends with somebody and y'all fell out and something happened, and it was like she was trying to make you look crazy in front of a guy, and you're like, what is going on? That's exactly what this was. But you just didn't have the words to put to it. You saw the behaviors, but you didn't understand it, and neither did she. A lot of times this is done, with lack of awareness, because we're socialized into how we are supposed to feel about, male attention. And this is especially true in the Black community. Black girls are socialized to tolerate a lot of foolishness. And unless we had very strong parents or parental figures or people around us to raise us to understand and process differently, we may have fallen into certain patterns of dealing with men. So understand that, like, she is trying to be the center of attention by embarrassing you. And it doesn't usually work unless he's a real, POS type of man. It may have worked younger, but older men usually not, unless he is truly predatory. And that's not friendship. I just need you to understand that that's social harm dressed up as jokes and quote unquote being real. And in circles where stalking or intimidation is present, social harm can escalate into safety risk fast. These are the type of women, if you ever experience that, cut them off. Just leave the situation as safely and quickly as possible, and honestly never speak to those women again. Revoke access immediately. So a coaching takeaway here is your glow doesn't need to be negotiated. You need to understand that if a woman keeps testing your dignity, she's not safe. And real talk, there shouldn't be more than one test, because the first time she tests you, you need to correct her. Now, correction does not mean harshness, and correctness does not mean cussing people out. We too grown for that. We too educated for that. We too polished for that. It can sometimes happen that way, but that it doesn't have to happen that way. But you need to stay, on guard with people, and especially if you see somebody acting funny. She may do or say something once, but it definitely shouldn't go past twice, and it should be corrected every time. Now, if you want to just cut off the relationship, just walk away. You don't even have to respond, but treat each situation accordingly. I know every situation is different, but you need to revoke access from that person has to your life. Point number 3, the most dangerous combo is a male-centered woman who normalizes abuse. So in extreme cases of this, a male-centered woman may tolerate cheating, lying, disrespect, and even violence, because leaving feels like failure and staying feels like quote unquote winning. This overlaps with what victim advocacy orgs describes as abuse not only being physical, it's a pattern of control, the isolation, the intimidation, the threats, the monitoring, the financial and economic control, whatever. And when a friend or family member consistently excuses those patterns, it can make it harder for women to recognize danger and exit early. That goes back to what I was saying earlier. A lot of us have been socialized into systems that weren't safe because of what was allowed within our own family, household, etc. So we were socialized to think certain behaviors from men were normal. Some of those, I think broadly, yeah, but that makes sense. But for enough of us, I'm not going to even say a lot or a few, enough of us, there were some very harmful patterns that were present and poor and dangerous behaviors that were allowed. How many women are victims of child SA because of what was condoned in their family, because their grandmother wouldn't believe them because she wouldn't believe a lie about her son or her, you know what I'm saying? Uncle, cousin, nephew, whatever, because they prize and uphold men and males more than anything. And there are plenty of women who, as they get older, have this crazy belief that if they allow this, they are quote unquote winning. They are still going to have access to the men whose approval that they hold so highly. Like as I was saying, and if there are children in the environment, the stakes are even higher, and the goal becomes to keep a man instead of protect the child. So a coaching takeaway I want you guys to have here is anyone who treats abuse as relationship problems is showing you they will pick a man over safety. And that is why, and this is a harsh one, and I really had to reflect on it before I decided to include it, because I know there are so many circumstances, but you have to really, I would say, pray on it and see what you need to do your soul searching on, and if you're in this situation. I am of the belief that if you have a friend at our big grown ages who is going through an abusive situation, it is escalated into true abuse. And it doesn't always have to be physical. It can be financial, it can be emotional, it can be verbal, whatever. And you have spoken to her in truth and confidence and in love and provided her a way out. Let's say it may not be you can just come pick her up and roll, but have provided her resources, have tried to put her in contact with people, all these things. And she keeps referring to the abuse as relationship problems. It is your safest bet to let that woman go. As a friend, as a peer, don't close the connection. This isn't not about like not talking to her and blocking her. Just say, hey, you are in a set of circumstances that I personally, it irritates my spirit. Like I cannot get behind. And so because I respect your choice, I need to take a step back from our friendship because I don't feel comfortable and I don't feel safe. And that's okay for you to have that boundary. Once again, it's not about closing the door for her to contact you, but it is about shutting down the foolishness and minimizing the harm to you based upon your friend's choices. So take that as you will, and you need to, move accordingly. Point 4, jealousy plus obsession plus access equals the escalation pipeline. In real world scenarios, jealousy turning into stalking behavior, trackers on cars, surveillance, confrontation showing up, is actually more normal than we would like to admit. We see that foolishness on TikTok and Instagram all the time. And it's in threads when people talk about situations, like it's alarming. and understand that that's not love. That's entitlement plus obsession. And you have to remember, with this red pill content that's ripping and running through these streets, it's made it worse. And the reason this matters for dating clarity is simple. When someone's identity is built around being chosen, rejection can feel like annihilation. So they escalate. Public health resources explicitly name stalking as a form of abuse and warn that it can involve technology and monitoring. Be mindful of your devices, ladies, when you are around and meet men, but also clock behavior in your friends, right? That you may see that is doing this to another person. That is very unsafe. She is unsafe. A coaching takeaway here is, if you see stalking behaviors, as I was saying before, this is not a storyline. It's a fixation and it's a safety issue, and you need to treat it accordingly. Yet again, this is another situation where you need to fall back. Now, unlike the previous point where, you fall back, state a boundary, but that person still has access when they're serious, this is probably stating a boundary, falling back, and blocking that person. Because if they're engaged in those behaviors, they're really not in the right mind to make sound decisions and may end up harming you. And you don't need that in your life. So it may be best to, leave them alone, drop the rope on that relationship, and truly block them. Point number 5, exit quickly is not drama. It's risk management. One of the cleanest coaching rules, right, is don't argue with unsafe people. Like, do not argue with unsafe people. Don't negotiate with unstable dynamics, and don't stay in triangulation. I need to say that again so y'all can clock that T. Don't argue with unsafe people. Don't negotiate with unstable dynamics, and don't stay in triangulation. If someone is competing with you for male attention, trying to recruit you into conflict, or repeatedly dragging you into chaos, the goal is not to win. The goal is to leave with your peace and your safety intact. We grown out here. We understand. We understand mortality now. We understand life is beautiful, and it is what we make it. And we cannot allow anyone to impede on that. And I implore my clients to really clock the behavior of the people that they have around them as they, progress on their life journey in general. When you're witnessing harassment, intimidation, or violence, lean on evidence-based bystander approaches, right? Small, smart interventions, distract, check in, get support that can reduce harm without you putting yourself in danger. Especially, if you are in the moment with someone who is exhibiting these behaviors, really try to distract and diffuse. That is an important technique. I feel that's important just in your surroundings. Even if you see something and you feel, now I'm not asking anybody to play Superman or Superwoman, but you feel that your presence can lend a de-escalating factor because you have the emotional, awareness and intelligence and acuity to de-escalate something, try to do that. Try to distract, try to downgrade. But as you do that and allow the people who truly can manage it to come in, I think of something like at a nightclub and a man is bothering a woman or a woman is being crazy. Like, if you can do something to, to de-escalate the situation or make it safe, do that. If it's something that you can't and you need to get out, get out. But in this instance, I'm talking about if you have male-centered women in your life that are doing some of these things, you need to just, talk to them, try to de-escalate in the moment, and understand getting out with your safety and your peace is most important. Once again, you probably need to block these people. A coaching takeaway here is the prize is not being picked. The prize is being safe, respected, and free. And you need to be safe. Very important. So these are just some of the points that came up for me out of the videos. Let me know your thoughts, and let me know if you've ever dealt with a male-centered woman in your family, in your friendship group, etc., or you were once a male-centered woman and maybe have really grown out of that through, age, wisdom, more life experience, etc., upgrading your friend group, etc. Let me leave you with this. Being chosen isn't the prize. Being safe is. Being adored is. Being respected in private is. If his energy is cold, cruel, dismissive, or resentful, don't romanticize it. Don't rehab it, and don't negotiate with it. If you want my exact clock it early plus exit clean scripts and a full vetting kit, join my coaching community on Coffee. Link is in the description box below. I'll see you inside.